Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 3rd, 2026 meeting of the Gaithersburg Planning Commission. I think this is our last meeting of this year.
Yes.
All right. Let's do a good job, shall we? So we first up our approval of minutes from 3 previous meetings. First up, approval of the minutes from October 8th, 2025. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the minutes of October 8th, 2025.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Next up are the approval of our minutes from November 5th, 2025. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the November 5th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's no, any nays? No. So it passes unanimously. Last up are the approval of our minutes from November 19th, 2025. Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, move approval of the minutes of November 19th, 2025.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that's 4. That passes unanimously. Thanks very much. All right, that takes us to our consent agenda, and we have 2 items on that tonight. One is for AFP-10238-2025, an addition of retractable screens to the existing 60 Vines pergola structure at 212 Ellington Boulevard in the MXD mixed-use development zone. That's an amendment to final plan, and it's a consent item again. And the second item on the consent agenda is AFP-10059-2025. Remove condition 4 from final site plan application SP 6106-2014 at 10201 Washingtonian Boulevard in the MXD mixed-use development zone. And that's again an amendment to final site plan. Both of those are consent items. Any questions on the consent agenda?
No.
I had just a quick clarification on the Washingtonian Boulevard. I want to make sure I'm understanding the intent of this correctly. Rather than me guessing, can you just give us a quick summary of specifically, are they still going to be providing a parking space per unit included with the lease?
Yep, that's correct. So they currently do have a parking addendum. It's just at the time when the final site plan got approved, they had this weird condition about charging, but they said they already provide parking as part of the lease.
Okay, and so the charging will be to allow them to charge for visitor parking or others who are parking there on a short-term basis.
They'd be allowed to
Non-residents.
prefer parking in
Okay,
the parking garage.
I guess because that was my only concern, that we aren't driving residents potentially out of there by adding a fee to it and onto the streets, but
No, but then
Okay.
the applicant had noted in their letter that there's been no parking issues, and
Yeah.
there's really not really much street parking over there currently right now. All of it's all short-term
Okay.
street parking.
all right, I have no issues.
All right. Is any other questions on the consent agenda? No.
No.
Is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented and read into the record.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. All right. Next up is recommendations to mayor and city council. Laura Maffui, you're saying we should read both of these in together? Okay. So the recommendation mayor and council for Z-10030-2025 Casey Rosedale zoning map amendment to rezone 2 O'Neill Drive and 3 Nancy Place from the R19 and R20 zones to the CD corridor development zone with an associated schematic development plan and request for environmental waiver and affordable housing waiver. That's a recommendation of the mayor and council. And together with that is AB-10054-2025 abandonment request to abandon, release, and vacate approximately 37,430 square feet of O'Neill Drive and Nancy Place right-of-way. That's part of the recommendation as well. Laura, please take it away.
Thank you. So good evening. This is Planning Commission recommendation on zoning map amendment application Z-10030-2025, requesting to rezone 2 O'Neill Drive and 3 Nancy Place to CD and establish a new schematic development plan, as well as abandonment application AB-10054-2025, requesting to abandon portions of O'Neill Drive and Nancy Place right-of-way. This is a subject site outlined in red here at the intersection of South Frederick Avenue and O'Neill Drive. It is currently developed with Rosedale Apartments, which are garden-style apartments built in the 70s. 2 O'Neill Drive is currently zoned R18 and 3 Nancy Place is zoned R20. The application proposes to rezone these to CD, which complies with recommendations in the 2009 master plan. The vacant parcel P940 was zoned CD upon annexation. So the rezoning is for 2 O'Neill Drive and 3 Nancy Place, and then the SDP incorporates all 3 parcels. This shows the SDP. The SDP proposes replacing the existing apartments with a new mixed income rental community, a multifamily rental community, which will be phased to avoid displacing the current tenants. It will include up to 434 units spread across 9 buildings with a maximum building height of 5 stories. 75% of the units will be affordable, restricted to occupancy by those making 50 to 80% of area median income, and the remaining units will be market rate. The SDP also proposes about 65,000 square feet of outdoor amenity space, including a large central green and active play area, and then smaller passive spaces spread throughout the community. These are some renderings taken from the proposed design guidelines that show conceptual architecture and the open amenity spaces. There are 2 building types proposed, open breezeway walk-up buildings and then interior corridor elevator buildings, but they both use the same facade materials, mostly brick and siding. The design guidelines also have standards for signage, screening, fencing, retaining walls, and landscape plantings. The applicant submitted 2 waiver requests. The first is an environmental waiver request for impacts to the Stream Valley buffer behind the KC Community Center. The proposed impacts are from necessary utilities like storm drain outfalls and a new water line that is being required by WSSC. The overall impact area shown on the waiver request is larger. It's about 2¼ acres, but it presents the worst case scenario of area needed to construct the necessary improvements as well as area to conduct any mitigation required to offset or compensate for the impacts. So it includes areas for reforestation efforts or enhancement of environmental features in the buffer itself. The details and final acreage of any mitigation will be determined at final site plan. So the ultimate impact area could shrink. This is just the maximum LOD possible. And staff recommends approval of the waiver. The applicant also submitted an affordable housing waiver request. This is because the annexation agreement already exempts the units on parcel P940 from our affordable housing requirements. And the owner, the Casey Foundation, is going to restrict 75% of the units to low and moderate income residents per the IRS code to maintain their status as a 501c3 charitable organization. So the waiver is to bring the entire site under one regulatory framework. And staff recommends approval of the waiver provided a declaration of covenants is recorded addressing the provision of affordable housing and allowing the city staff to monitor for compliance. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in a few slides when I talk about the applicant's response statement. The SDP also includes a tree removal variance to remove 8 trees and impact the root zones of 3 trees, most of them in fair condition. And staff recommends approval as the applicant has mitigated impacts to the greatest extent possible without compromising the feasibility of the project. And then lastly is the abandonment application requesting to abandon 37,430 square feet of O'Neill Drive and Nancy Place to facilitate the SDP. You have seen this once before. Our code requires a planning commission recommendation prior to the public hearing. So previously you recommended to support the abandonment and proceed with the public hearing. So now in order to get the zoning map amendment and abandonment processes to line up, it's back before you again. The abandonment and subsequent dedication proposed with the SDP will realign the road and still provide connectivity from the signalized intersection at 355 around to the back of the KC Community Center parking lot. And it will accommodate the minimum right-of-way required for a neighborhood residential street typology. And then the applicant is proposing temporary access easements for the portions of the existing roadway that will be abandoned upon approval, but will still need to be accessed to access the existing apartments. And those will be made to expire upon construction of the new road. The joint public hearing for these applications was held on October 20th, 2025. The Planning Commission records closed at 5 p.m. on November 19th, 2025, with 83 exhibits in the record. During the joint public hearing, some questions and concerns were brought up, which the applicant responded to in their response letter. It was in your packet as Exhibit 71. The main topics that came up were questions about the affordable housing waiver and the declaration of covenants, the strategy for relocating their tenants, parking, noise impacts, and the potential for installing sustainable design features. In response to questions about the affordable housing waiver and covenant, the applicant provided a draft declaration of covenants, which was included as Exhibit 72. The covenant states that 75% of the units will be restricted as affordable, but it includes safeguards should the proportion of affordable units change. So if the proportion of affordable units drops to anything below 15%, so below what our city program requires, then the city's affordable housing requirements would apply. And this is the same provision that's in the annexation agreement. The covenant also allows the city to monitor the affordable units to ensure compliance. It is binding on any subsequent property owner, and it includes the city as a signing party, so cannot be amended without city approval. And staff has included a proposed condition requiring recordation of the covenant. In response to questions about relocating their tenants, the applicant stated that they will not be responsible for moving tenants, but that they will communicate with them well in advance, coordinate moving dates, and reach out to moving companies to obtain preferential rates. Staff notes that they will be required to comply with any relocation assistance provisions of both the city and county code, but this will come later on in the process, and neighborhood services will monitor for compliance. And then they also provided an estimated timeline for construction and anticipated completion by 2031. Regarding parking, the applicant stated they are requesting a parking ratio of 1.39 spaces per unit, which is a shortage of 21 spaces per our parking ordinance, but the CD zone allows council to establish parking ratios at the time of SDP. Surface parking would be supplemented by 41 additional on-street spaces. The applicant justified the minor parking shortage by acknowledging the close proximity to transit on 355, and also site constraints like the need to provide a modern stormwater management facilities and amenity space, which the site does not currently have. To address concerns with noise, specifically from the nearby roads, the applicant noted there is an existing sound wall and tree plantings along 370 to buffer noise, and that the proposed buildings are further from 370 than the existing apartments. The SDP submission included a noise study, which concluded that some units would need treatment for noise reduction, but further analysis will be done at final site plan to determine specifically which treatments are needed, such as higher window ratings or exterior wall modifications. And then lastly, the applicant stated that the design guidelines do allow for rooftop solar at the project, but that any sustainability features such as EV charging stations may be difficult to implement because the project is being self-funded by the Casey Foundation. But if they could obtain grants, they might be able to incorporate them, and that would come at final site plan. These are our code requirements. I just wanted to note that CD zone map amendments with an SDP are handled as one application now, but both the rezoning and SDP must be approved. So council cannot approve the rezoning without also approving the SDP. And that's all I have. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the zoning map amendment application with the 4 conditions as presented in the staff analysis. And then staff also recommends that the Planning Commission recommend approval of the abandonment application. So I will ask for 2 separate motions, one for the rezoning, or one for the zoning map amendment and one for the abandonment. And then if you wanted to provide any additional comments on the waiver requests, I can include those in the memo to council. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant's team is here as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
Very thorough report, so. Yep.
I gave it a very, very thorough look, and I spoke to you today.
Yes.
And because I'm very concerned, you know, anytime affordable housing is, you know, mentioned, we want to make sure, because that's really, really needed in our community and across the country. And I wanted to make sure that this was airtight. I think it is. I'm very hopeful. looks like it is.
Yes, that was the purpose of having them do the declaration
Yeah,
of covenant.
right.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, so, yeah, I was, as I said, I'm very skeptical, but you highlighted some of my concerns, and I appreciate that.
All right. Our record is closed. So if you're watching online and thought you might be able to comment, I'm sorry, you won't be able to tonight. Any other discussion about this? Any concerns?
No, I mean, even the, the environmental waivers, I think are very well mitigated by obviously the full improvement of the property. It was really just sort of draining wherever it wanted to. And
Yeah.
and the supply and public facilities were not adequate either. So it's really great to see a site this large, separate from all the public good it's doing by the buildings itself, is a tremendous amount of green area, tremendous amount of permeable area, and a modern stormwater management system, which is just wonderful. So a little bit of penetration into the stream bed is okay with me. It's a good trade-off.
Just one quick question, Laura, has there been any discussion yet, and maybe this is coming at the next phase as far as distribution of the 25% market rate versus the 75% affordable? Is it building by building? Is it blended? Do we have a sense of that yet, or is that a to be determined?
That would to be determined at final site plan. They stated they would provide locations of the units at final site plan.
Just a quick history lesson, if you would. The abandonment, that little dedicated area for a roadway, I assume was a remnant from way before 370 was built, when there were surface road connections across Shady Grove Road contemplated. Is that what that was from?
Yes, this little stub out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did actually make me look at Google Maps just to see if
If it lines up with something.
anything. Doesn't really, but
Yeah.
probably would have.
Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah. Most of the requested abandonment area is not constructed.
Right,
It's
right.
just right of way area that was.
But it's
never-
there because way long time ago, there was some kind of a roadway emerging, I guess, before it was interrupted.
That's where
Yeah.
they herded the cows through from the.
Yeah. Well, no, and it sort of just points to findings that there is no real viable need for it at all. There's
Yeah.
not even it's been thoroughly severed from any potential connection. It's a great project. I mean, I don't know why we would spend a lot of time
Mhm.
doing anything other than,
I mean, even the parking waiver is great. I'm a hater of asphalt, and I do love anything that comes in with a logical way to deal with commuting that doesn't involve the occasional parking of a car on a big 9x18 piece of
Mhm.
asphalt. So I'm excited about things
Actually,
like that. So
that
I think
raises,
it's
I want to clarify, when you did the slide about the parking calculation and mentioned
Mm-hmm.
the on-street parking, those aren't included in the total, right? So it was a waiver for the dedicated parking?
Yes, the surface lot.
Surface lots,
The
yeah.
on-street parking is an addition.
Right, okay. So that helps to add some relief for
Yeah.
visitors, whatever.
I mean, in theory, it puts it over the
Right.
minimum requirement, but
We
there's
can't
also
count
no,
it.
yeah, but then there's no visitor parking.
Mhm.
And it's also kind of a dead end property too, so it shouldn't have any public parking on it. It's not specific visitor parking.
Yeah, I just imagine this really wanders off course, but just as a point to keep an eye on later. I think about the areas of development in the city that attract, work vehicles and things, because there's nowhere else to put them. I mean, that ends up being the question later on, but that's an operational thing that property managers in the city can work out later. All right, any other comments? I'll finish my thought. Great project.
Yeah.
Go, go, go. This is a
Yeah.
wonderful thing for the city, and
Mhm.
happy to see this has come as far as it has. Although 2031, that just seems like a long way away. And then I did the math, and it's actually not. So that was a little depressing too.
Yeah, well, it's the very wonderful phasing. So it's the
Yeah.
real,
Oh, right. It's
moving everybody into a new building and then taking that down.
Very
bringing it
reasonable
up. So,
schedule.
yeah, 31 it'll be right around the corner.
okay.
Kind of amazing,
Stop
actually.
saying that.
It's true.
All right, great. Any other comments?
No.
All right. So we have staff recommending two motions. First for the actual rezone and map amendment.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission, based on the evidence in the record, findings presented, the staff analysis, recommend approval of zoning map amendment Z10030-2025 to the mayor and council with the 4 conditions that are in our record.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. And then the recommendation for a motion on the abandonment.
All right, Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission, based on the evidence in the record and findings presented in the staff analysis, recommend approval of abandonment AB 10054-2025 to the mayor and city council.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that passes unanimously. Thanks very much. Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
being here
Thank
tonight.
you.
You brought out everybody. You never know, right?
Laura, thanks for your hard work.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
Laura, I'll know for staff that you're encouraging bad behavior when you put trees, mitigate noise, which they do not. So the sound wall does a great job. Trees do not.
Noted.
Good job, Laura.
But it screens the visual impact of noise.
Yes, it's the visual impact of noise. Does a very good job with that.
Yeah. Right.
All the colors.
All right. Enough silliness, right? Let's go to from the commission. Matt, can I start with you, please?
Nothing for me.
Nothing? Okay. Phil, anything from you?
Nothing for me this evening.
Danny?
Just I wish everyone a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Will do.
Excellent. And I will do the same because we won't be together again until after the first of the year.
Yes.
So, happy holidays, happy new year. Stay safe, stay warm. Let's keep going here, right? All right, so staff has a couple things. Who's
Yeah.
Jasmine?
Yes, I do have a couple things. So
Okay.
first I have up is the annual planning report. We every year we do the pretty illustrative version of the report.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, we've been so busy, we never got to present the 2023 annual report. So we could decide to combine the 2023 and the 2024 as one report. It'll be available for the public by the end of this week. But I think you'll notice in 2023, we noticed kind of a slowdown post-COVID and
Yeah.
housing construction costs. We've noticed kind of a decrease in permits. Like we only issued one residential permit, and that was for a house that was damaged in a fire.
Wow.
But we'll see in the 2025, we saw a shift. So we're seeing kind of things kind of rolling back up again. So you'll notice in the 2023, 2024 report, you notice the numbers kind of decrease.
Well, you say that, but I was thumbing through this thinking, boy, there was a lot going on.
Yep.
Reminded me, we did the planning awards and,
Yep.
stuff that seemed like it was 10 years ago, but it's only been a couple of years. So nice job, by the way, the staff for putting that together.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll be back next year with the 2025 report.
Yeah. Get started on that in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
All right.
And the other item I have is I know I had presented this to the Mayor City Council, but want to present for the Planning Commission is our planning project web map. Currently, the city does have a project in the city page on the website, but that only lists projects that goes to Planning Commission and Council.
Mhm.
And kind of one of the goals that the planning department has is to enhance community engagement
Okay.
and be more transparent. So this planning projects page actually includes every application that comes to the planning department. That includes staff approvals, historic area work permits, any board of appeals, so everything.
Mhm.
And what's great about this web map through ArcGIS is anyone can type in their address and it draws a half-mile buffer around, and I'll show this and I'll use South Summit as an example. We hit that and it draws a pin on the property and it draws a half-mile radius and it grabs all the site plans that's close by, and it gives you kind of just a summary, the status, and if you click here, it takes us to InterGov, which is kind of our database. So we keep all the applications. So now we submit everything online. So everything comes through InterGov. So everyone has access to all the attachments and exhibits. So that just be more transparent. And so that way, if someone's interested in what's going on in their home, they can look that up and easily pull up. And this will replace the just the planning's applications part of the projects in the city.
Mhm.
Public Works will still post their projects on that page.
Okay. Yeah, it was funny because I afraid we probably had a joint hearing or something that night when it was GIS day and there was a big
Yes.
demonstration. And I was intrigued by this, but it's not live yet, or it is?
Not live yet. So our goal is there's couple, we're working on kind of some back end couple things. So our goal is to get this up and running on the public early next week, and we'll put out a press release
Great.
when that's ready.
Congratulations on that.
Okay, thank you.
It includes building permits or no?
No, not yet. I think
Okay.
the goal maybe in the future,
Yeah,
maybe expand to building permits.
at least maybe commercial building permits right now. Great. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Can't wait to play with it.
Yes.
Move the little slider from, half
Mhm.
mile to 2 miles.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great tool with a lot of things ArcGIS has at your fingertips that you can.
Yeah.
How far back does that go into the historical archives of approvals?
So just current applications. So any sort of current applications, it'll pop up. So we have a timeline. So for example, staffs will only be up for a couple of weeks and they'll pop off. So that way the whole map won't just be populated with a bunch of polygons. So it only shows up to current applications.
All right.
Great tool.
Okay.
And the only thing I have is I want to wish everyone a happy holidays and a
Thank
happy new year. This is our last meeting of the
Mm.
year. Our next plan commission meeting is on January 7th, and we potentially it's tentatively scheduled a joint public hearing on January 5th, and I'll have a little more information once we get close to
Okay.
that date.
Did you already poll us for the 5th?
No, not yet. I'll hold.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So that's all I have.
All good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Anything from this side of the staff over here?
I just want to voice my appreciation to Jasmine for the hard work that she put into this planning project webpage update. It was something she was tasked with early on when she started her new role in the community planning manager. And I would say she has hit it out of the park based off my expectations for it. And I'm very pleased with the work that she's put into it. And I think it's gonna be a real asset and a tool to our residents to understand
Yeah.
more of what's going on with planning in the city.
Yeah.
So the lesson here is talk to the tech team and get a recording of that. So when it's time for the annual review, you get. Bookmark this on YouTube. Nice work. Yeah.
And also just want to echo Jasmine's happy holidays and happy new year to everybody.
Thanks, and
Thank
same to
you.
you. Frank, thanks for being here to keep us out of trouble.
And I'll do the same thing. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah. All right. All right. Anything else? If not, have a good evening. Happy New Year, and we're adjourned.
Thank you.